Do you still recall your first album that you bought?
It was like a really bad smash hits album with some current pop songs on it. It wasn't a very cool first album.
Why did you buy this? How come?
I don't really know. I just remember being in a record shop and just picking it up and buying it. I don't even think I knew what it was, but I remember dancing around in my bedroom to it.
How old were you?
Very young, probably 8, 9.
And do you still recall one or two songs that were on that album?
Do you remember Billy Piper? Look it up. It's pretty. Yeah, Billy Piper, Because We Want To. It was like a cheesy like UK pop song. Okay. I think it had like a cover of Surfing USA on it as well, and I remember dancing around my bedroom to that.
And when you were really into music, what was the first album that you bought that you still like to this day?
I remember, I think I had AC/DC High Voltage, and that was when I actually started to get into music properly, because my dad's a big music fan. He's a big vinyl collector, and I grew up with a lot of music around the house, and I remember just getting into sort of that classic rock sound first, and then I think everything sort of stemmed from that, and then I started to get into reggae and hip hop and a lot of punk music, but yeah, I think High Voltage was one of the first albums I had. What
makes this album a good album?
What makes a good album?
No, I mean this album is high voltage. Yeah?
I don't know. I think it's just the riffs. I think it's just that big guitar sound that I fell in love with at a young age, and just kind of the attitude.
And what do you still recall? What sort of music made you decide to make your own music?
I don't know really. I'd been in a few bands before this band, and never quite felt happy with the sound that I was making. And when Laurie came along and we started making this music, it was all quite natural. We just got into a room together, and this is the music that came out. So I don't think we ever really tried too hard to sound like anything else. I think it was quite authentic in that sense.
And the previous bands, what sort of bands were that?
I was in a band before Slaves that was it was kind of like, I guess it was a punk band, but we had a synth player, and it was kind of like grime tempo, and I used to rap over it, and I didn't play anything, I just had a microphone in my hand. I just used to march around.
And another previous band?
Before that, I think the first sort of musical thing I did, when I actually started to make music, I used to beatbox, and then I met a friend who is a rapper, and we used to sort of rap on the school playground, and then through that I got into that band, and I was rapping in a punk band, because I never wanted to stick to one thing. I love the idea of mixing genres and kind of ripping up the rule book, and I don't know, just doing something crazy. I think that's you should always try and do that when you're making music. Try and do something different.
And how do you approach then your songwriting?
I think it's always different. I think I've always got lyrical ideas in my head, and Laurie's always writing riffs, and sometimes Laurie will have lyrical ideas, sometimes I'll have riffs. We always approach it from different angles. I don't think there's never one way that we write a song. And
well, you said you had AC/DC, then you went from reggae and then more to punk, but where does the beatboxing and the rapping come in?
I don't know. I actually don't know. I think just when I was at school, there was for some reason when I was at school, that just kind of happened. My school was kind of just in the countryside as well, so I don't know how that came about. It was pretty strange, but I'm glad it happened.
What year was this when you started rapping? Just to maybe we can see where your rapping influence comes from.
It was, I must have been about 11 or 12. Yeah. It was when I'd just gone to secondary school. But yeah, I don't know where it came from really.
But did you listen to hip hop?
Yeah, I've always listened to everything, literally everything. It's a wide spectrum of music. I love like everything from classical to house. Like, I love everything.
And what does attract you then in each music?
What sorry?
Yeah. I mean, you listen to all sorts of styles of music. What do you look for in music then? If you
I don't know. I don't think I look for anything. I just think if it's pleasing to the ear, then I'll listen to it. I don't think, yeah. I don't think I like genres, I like songs.
Yeah.
My microphone's falling down.
Geen last van gehad?
Nee, dat is goed.
Does the sound alright then?
No, it's okay. Yeah. And well, you said.
Yeah.
Well, you said you like songs. Why songs? Because maybe you can also go for rhythm or for.
I don't know. I don't know if it's easy. I don't think you can just explain why you like something. I don't know. I've always just liked songs. I don't think genres really come into it. I couldn't say I liked every song from a certain genre. I think it's, yeah. Music's so universal and such a wide thing that there's just so much of it. I don't think it's easy to just say you like one genre.
What your dad had a big record collection?
Yeah.
What sort of albums did you pick out from his record collection? Do you still recall?
I remember. I don't know. It was such a mix. My dad's the same as me. He's got his vinyl collection is like very vast, and there's so much different stuff in it. So I don't know. I used to like everything. I used to tell him to put something fast on. I always used to say that to him when I was really young. Put something fast on.
What does he think of Slaves?
He loves it. He's had a big influence on the band. When we first started, and we've got this kind of strange setup where I stand up and I drum, and I'm also the singer. He used to sit us down and play us records by bands that had similar setups, and yeah, he kind of led us in a direction when we first started, I guess.
What bands did he play to you with similar setups?
It was like Jesus and the Mary Chain, and it was like kind of some a lot of garage punk from around where we live. Like there's a big Kent Medway scene, which is all kind of garage punk influenced, and he was playing us a lot of those bands, and I think we liked that sound, and I think we were kind of drawn to that sound at the start.
Do you have an explanation, or maybe people tell you why they like your music? Because you're really happening now.
I don't know. I just think it's real. I think people can tell when you're being genuine and when something's original. And I don't know, it's positive as well. It's aggressive, but it's also positive. It's never negative. And I think a lot of people feel like they can relate to it. And I think that's nice. I think our fan base is really wide as well, because there's all different ages and types, and yeah, there's no barriers. Anyone's welcome.
And the life you're leading right now with playing for crowds, how special is this for you?
It means everything to us. Playing live that's what we live to do. That's our whole lives basically. We like recording and being in the studio as well, but playing live is like that's what we live for.
And do you still recall the first time you actually performed?
Yeah.
What was it like?
We played in a pub in England. I think the pub was so small. I think it could only hold about 20 people. And I just remember being so nervous, just sweat just dripping from my face, and people weren't really sure about it at the start. I still think there's people that aren't sure about it now, but we knew straight away that we had to carry on doing it.
Why?
Because it just felt like the right thing to do. And it felt good, and it felt like a release. I think we were both quite unhappy in our current jobs and lives, and it kind of felt like a release. And it felt good, and that's still what it feels like now.
What did you do then? Your job?
I was juggling 2 jobs. I was working in the stockroom of like a top shop. I was working in the stockroom, just kind of unpacking boxes, and I was also working as a care worker, which I really did like that job. That was the first job I ever had. I used to care for elderly people. And Laurie was working in a milkshake shop, and he hated it. So we were both looking for something else, and we found it with each other.
But you said it actually it was a release, playing live and making the music. Now you're happy, I think. Do you still need that release, or?
Yeah, I don't know if anyone's ever really truly satisfied. I think there's always room for improvement, but I just know that the time when we're on stage, you just forget about everything else, and that's the only thing in the world that matters right there. So we love being on stage.
Are there certain songs that trigger the crowds more than others?
Yeah, I mean, we used to just write fast punk songs all the time, but we've started to explore different avenues now, and I think we've matured as musicians, and we're starting to write slower songs and more melodic songs and songs with more depth, and I think, you get a different reaction from the crowd whatever you play, so it's quite nice switching it up.
What song do you like to play?
What song do I like to play?
Live, yeah.
I always enjoy playing The Hunter, which is one of our songs, but me and Laurie wrote that we were writing our album, and that was the very last song that we wrote. And I don't know, I feel like it really means something to us, and I feel like we're going to find it hard to ever beat that song, to write a better song than that.
What is the song about?
I think it's kind of about oppression, and it's just kind of like a social documentation, which is, I think a lot of our music is like that. We just kind of look at the world and write what we see, and it was just a track like that.
What did you see when you wrote that song? What happened back then? What were you occupied with?
As I said, we were writing the album, and we'd been doing it for quite some time, and we'd wrote quite a few kind of simple songs. The lyrics are very simple, and I think I'd almost forgotten that I could write lyrics. And the songs we were writing were so simple, and Laurie had this riff, and he was like, I just want you to write something to it, like really write something. So I sat there, and just like the words just flowed out, and yeah, that's a song that we're both very happy with, and we love playing it.
Last question, what line from that song do you like best?
I'm trying to think of them now. The chorus is just, you keep it, we don't want it. And I think that relates to quite a lot of things.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.